All right, everyone. We're back here. What a treat we have here. We've had James on our James White, one of the founders of Legend Story Studios at our previous two local game store conferences. But this time we get to meet Chris Pearce, the other co-founder for Legend Story Studios. And it's always a pleasure because I have been lucky enough to be on many calls with Chris and James and get to really see the kind of brilliance and vision that's gone into, launching Flesh and Blood, maintaining Flesh and Blood, and building not just a great card game, but a great community and ecosystem. I will say this because unfortunately, because of the state of the world, neither Chris nor James could be at the calling in Las Vegas. It was one of the best events in terms of just how awesome and nice and great people were. Even when I had to do a bunch of customer service and deliver bad news, and yet still people were like, yeah, no, that's okay. I understand. It was unbelievable. So this community above and beyond the game, that Chris, you and James have put out there is so amazing. And so excited to see we're talking about organized play, because I think one of the best things you can do besides carrying Flesh and Blood product in your stores, obviously great for the bottom line. It's a great product. I recommend everybody carry it, is invite this community into your store. Because I think it's just an overwhelmingly positive, good, mature community. And every store should have it in their to-do list to get that Flesh and Blood community in their store. And so Chris is going to tell you exactly what LSS is doing and how you can get that community inside your local game store.
Hey, good one. Look, thanks, Marshy. That's a fantastic introduction and very kind words of yours. We were really, really sorry that we couldn't be at the call in Las Vegas, but we heard fantastic things about what had gone on there. And one of the comments that really did stand out, as you highlighted, was just the strength of the community spirit that actually showed through in the event there. And for us, this isn't something that just kind of happened. It didn't come out of nowhere. Building a community is something that we've worked on as a studio for a long time, and it's been a deliberate focus of ours to really try and actually promote the community aspects of Flesh and Blood. You'll see that we talk a lot in our writing and in our videos and things like that about community and about the kind of values and the behaviours that we want to see amongst the community. And it's such a fantastic thing that people have picked up so positively on all of that. And so what I wanted to talk about today a bit is just how, as a store owner, people can actually think about some of these issues of building a community and the different kinds of people that actually make up the community around your store and around a game. Because that's really key to us, is that a community is not sort of one group of players. A community is a whole range of different players with all sorts of kinds of diverse interests. And we work with a lot of stores, and what we've seen is that the stores that actually do the best with building their communities are the ones that really kind of understand that there is this whole diverse range of kinds of people in the community, and that actually try and sort of build something that caters to everybody. So, one thing I wanted to just share about with you this morning was, or this afternoon, American time, is a concept that we talk a lot about in the studio, which is the concept of the player pyramid. And the player pyramid is something that we think about in terms of who actually makes up the different kinds of levels of the community. At the top of the pyramid, there's sort of the competitive players, the really sort of elite level players. These guys are on the way to the Pro Tour. They're going to the national championships. They're off to the calling, this kind of thing. These are the people that will sort of show up on release day, and they'll buy box after box after box of product, and they'll be going through it, searching for all the chase products and all the top end cards. And this is an absolutely key part of your community. They're the ones that will come back time and time again, and they're critical people to actually look after. At the second level, there's sort of the engaged players. These are the people that will probably show up from with a reasonable amount of frequency for some of the special events that you put on, and you get them in for the weekly play on a reasonable basis as well. They're probably not sort of shooting for that real kind of top tier. They may not care so much about getting off to the national championships. But they'll fill up the events at the store on a weekly basis, and they're coming along to have fun, enjoy themselves, get better, but maybe not sort of pushing themselves to win absolutely everything that's out there. The third tier that we think about is sort of the interested players. These are the ones that are kind of exploring organized play as a way of engaging with the game. They probably play a bit more casually, and they'll come out for the occasional special event. Pre-releases are always one that you see the interested players kind of popping up for. But if you've got something special on running in your store, then they'll come along. But maybe they're not going to be sort of there every week playing in your weekly matches. And then the final layer is kind of the casual players, the people that are maybe they're coming along and they're buying a bit of product every now and then. But then they're taking it home and they're using it to play with their friends, the kind of kitchen table players. And these people have actually got a very key role in the pyramid here, because they often are actually buying very substantial quantities of product, but they're doing it in smaller amounts. And maybe because they're not showing up at the store on a really frequent basis, they're not quite as visible in terms of their position in your store or their community, but they're actually very, very important. And when you think about where your sales actually go, a huge amount of the sales actually do go to the bottom parts of the pyramid here as well. So we think, as we said, a lot about all these different categories and how does this work. And one thing that we've seen with all the range of stores that we've worked with is the best stores, the ones that actually do the best job of turning out players week in, week out, are the ones that are doing the best job at taking the players from the bottom of the pyramid and moving them up the layers. They're the ones that do a great job of actually getting the casual players interested in showing up for a pre-release. They get the interested players a bit more engaged and move them up to actually playing on a weekly basis at those Armory events and other sort of frequent events that you have there. And they get the engaged players and they get them really excited about the possibility that the Pro Tour is real, national championships are real. These are things that I can achieve even out of my local game store, and it's something that I can participate in. And so, I'm just going to talk for a few minutes today about some of the things that we've seen that stores do to actually build these parts of the community, and how culture actually fits into this in terms of making the players really engaged and really enthused about doing things. So, in terms of events, there's always a bit of a trade-off in terms of what do the different players want in your community. There's a trade-off in terms of the skill level, in terms of the cost, in terms of the complexity that people are playing at. But there's always lots of different ways, and this is something that people often sort of think about as a one-off process. We've seen that stores sort of think, right, I've activated my community, and now I'm done. But there's a lot to actually be said for thinking about this as an ongoing process of actually building your community and engaging people on a constant basis to actually keep people sort of coming through from the bottom tiers of the pyramid all the way up to the top. So as a studio, we offer welcome decks for learning to play. We give them out completely for free. They're based on Eye of the Crimson Haze, and it's deck that people can learn to play in 10 minutes and then sit down and play in a competition. From there, the next level up is sort of sealed deck, blitz pre-constructed, these kinds of things. And yeah, they're great ways to actually move people up from that first step of the ladder where they've gotten interested in the game to actually starting to play at a more competitive level. Often we find that these ones surprisingly get overlooked by a number of stores because people think that everybody wants to play the constructed formats, but these ones are actually great onboarding formats for a couple of reasons. One is it's just a really low cost way to get players into the game, and two, it's easier to play without having to have built out lots of decks beforehand. But three, it starts people building their pools of cards as well, and so it actually helps them get to the point where they can start to think about some of the constructed formats, but without all the barriers to entry of actually building out those constructed decks first. So a lot of the stores that we see that are doing the best job have a constant basis of trying to actually run these sort of sealed deck and other kinds of events, like with pre-constructed decks, just as a way of both challenging the new players to the experienced players to actually participate in it, but giving the new players a way in as well through those kinds of formats. Yeah, draft is another good one that you can use to get in there. It's a higher skill level format, but equally it gives players a lot of a lot of fun, and it's cheap and pretty easy to do for a lot of players. Then we have things like Ultimate Pit Fight as ways to actually sort of get people along to be playing in fun formats without necessarily having the pressure on of playing in the fully competitive ones. But of course, the top end players are going to want to play the sort of elite constructed formats, and that's where things like Blitz and Classic Constructed and these kinds of pieces come in as well. So absolutely, Classic Constructed and Blitz, and for other game formats, the kind of elite play formats are absolutely key parts of making sure that your competitive players stay engaged. But as we've what we've seen across the world is that the stores that are doing the best jobs, the stores that frequently turn out 16 players, 32 players, 64 players for the really big events that they're doing these things down the bottom of the pyramid first, and they keep doing them. It's a discipline that they have in their store. It's part of building the community, that these aren't sort of just, I've done my IRA event, I've sort of, I've done a steel deck event once, I've got my 6 players, my 8 players or something like that, and off I go. It's community building as an ongoing discipline to actually make sure that you keep the flow of players coming from the lower levels of the pyramid up to the higher ones. So that's the first thing that I just wanted to talk about today, was using events in a really deliberate way inside your store to target these different groups of players and to try and actually sort of activate them into these groups. So then, look, second thing I just wanted to go on and talk about was marketing and how you actually go about marketing some of these events, because community building means people need to know about your store. They need to be really aware of what you have going on, and making sure that it's fun and engaging and really interesting for them. So first thing is making sure that you're making use of all the publisher materials that are actually available and out there. Are you using all the event posters? Have you got them set up in your store in the right place? So as a publisher, we make available lots of different kinds of posters. We've got big banners, which are great for out the front of the store. We've got detailed ones as well, which are really good reads for people. It's important to actually think about where in your store are you positioning this kind of thing. Lots of stores take things like their Road to Nationals posters and they put them up near the front door or something like that. Thing about that is those are kind of places that people walk in and they just walk past and they sort of see the thing, but they don't necessarily engage with it. Thinking about where you actually position this kind of thing in your store, where are people going to read this? Probably at the point of sale, where they've actually got some time to sit here and read through all the detail on these. So just actively thinking about how to engage players with the materials that the publishers make available. talk to players. This is such a strange one because, yeah, I go out and I mystery shop around stores all the time, and just, yeah, go and talk to people at the counter, buy a few packs, and just see how they're actually merchandising the product and what they actually do in terms of sales and engagement. And you know what? In the entire time that I've been going around stores buying Fish and Blood, I've only had about 4 stores that have actually taken the time to invite me along to an event after I've bought the product. And I've probably been to several dozen stores at this point. And it's absolutely no surprise that the stores that did that are the stores that are getting the best turnout. They're the ones that are actually telling the casual players, the interested players, about what's going on and really taking that time to engage them and get them up the ladder. And those are the ones that stick in my mind when I'm sort of sitting down and thinking, man, I'd like to actually go out and play a game this weekend. Where am I going to go? Well, the stores that took the time to tell me about their events in person when I was in there, buying a pack or two, are the ones that actually really do a great job. So it seems so obvious, but so few stores are actually really good at doing that. So few stores are good at training their staff up to do that. So making sure that you're actually just doing the basics as an ongoing part of the way that you position the games is a really key piece there. Yeah, make sure you post your events online. Probably only half the stores that are running any of our events, we actually go and look on their Facebook page and see something happening online. So make sure that you make use of all those materials that are put out there for all of the events. Do your coverage. Do the work on actually putting the stuff up on your Facebook page as well, because this is one great way of actually making sure that that again the less engaged players are actually sort of seeing that there is lots of fun things going on. Feature players, feature people in your community, and make a post about a person that's actually in the community and that has actually done well in one of the events if they're comfortable doing it, and make sure that you get your branding in the shots so that people can see where the photos were and what they're of. If a player in your community goes and actually reposts a photo that you've taken, then that may take it from your several hundred followers out to all of their friends on Facebook as well. But it's only going to really be relevant if you've got your branding in those shots as well. So yeah, here's a couple of really great examples of stores that are doing a really strong job in terms of building their communities and marketing games really well. On the left, this is Ludi World. They're out of Paris, and this is the photo that they took as their sort of premiere photo of their pre-release. It's got all the branding in there. It's got lots of players in playing the game. It's clear to anybody that looks at this photo immediately what's going on. What are these people doing? And so it's a very effective snapshot of what's happening there. On the right is Mock Saga, one of the top performing stores out of Hong Kong. And you can see here, they've actually got a place in their store to take a photo that's got the store's brand in it. Again, when people actually go out and share your material, this is the kind of thing that actually helps to build your brand out across the rest of the community. So we see these as really key things, but a lot of people don't think about doing this when they're taking their photos, when they're doing all their branding and their positioning. It's a photo of a lot of people sort of sitting in a room, but for anybody that's not very highly engaged already, it doesn't necessarily mean a lot. So making sure that your photos actually communicate a message is not a particularly tough thing to do. It just is a little bit of thinking about positioning, about angling, and you can really sort of step up your game to be very effective if you think about these things a little bit when you're putting this kind of material out there. Last thing on marketing is just a reminder to actually consider engaging online with the players. So lots of stores' social media feeds are full of things like posts to say, hey, we've just got a restock of this. but that's sort of the end of it. It's a photo of the product, it's a little bit of information, and what have you actually got there to actually sort of engage the players? So ask questions, get out there and start a bit of a conversation online. What are you excited about opening? What kind of events do you want to see us running at the store? These are the kinds of things, again, that the top performing stores actually get in there and do. They go and ask the players what kind of formats they want. They let them vote on the kind of format that they want to run for the week. And they do it in a sort of a public way that actually builds some of that online engagement. And so it's bringing in players to the community to look at what they want, and starts to actually give players a bit of a voice in how the community itself builds. So there's lots of different things that people do that are really smart in terms of marketing. But it's really obvious to us that the stores that are performing the best consistently do this kind of thing well. They consistently engage the players through their marketing and through all of the kinds of positioning and branding that they use in their stores. So the final point that I wanted to talk to was this point of culture as well, and building a culture that you're actually excited about and proud to have in your community. And first thing here is just about the importance of being inclusive versus being exclusive. It's quite easy for communities sometimes to actually sort of fall into this trap of a small number of elite players sort of coalescing around a store and then driving most of what's going on in there, and it can be quite hard for people to break in. And actively trying to build a culture of inclusiveness is a really important thing for people to actually be able to get in and enjoy being part of the community. Rules and the way that you enforce them are such a key part of this. And this is one of the big things that we've worked on in the game, is thinking about yourself and your staff and anyone that's judging your events as actually being the people that hold the culture and carry the culture of your game through. So we take a real view in Flesh and Blood of rules being and judges being there to actually facilitate the game and facilitate a really enjoyable experience for players, rather than being there simply to just enforce rules. So making sure that your judges are prepared, making sure that they know that they should be acting in a neutral way, that they shouldn't be sort of favoring the high level players or anything, and being humble, realizing that judges don't actually have every single answer right, and that sometimes they will make mistakes, and if they do, then just being humble about that and being ready to apologize and to move on. Being clear and positive and diplomatic in the way that rules are actually explained is another critical part of this as well. And finally, being understanding and empathetic. This is so important when players have enforcements made against them. They're going to be disappointed, and actually just spending a little bit of time just saying, hey, look, this is the rule, and so we do have to play it this way. Really sorry, realize that's going to impact the game, but just spending that little bit of time to actually empathize with the player and what they're going to be feeling when they've made a play mistake and they've gotten locked in is such an important part of actually making them feel okay about the way in which the rules have been enforced. Coming down really hard and really strictly, your top level players will accept that. They don't mind too much. They're off to the pro tour. They're used to that kind of thing. But it's really off-putting for people at that kind of casual level to have rules enforced really hard against them and in a really kind of aggressive way. So thinking about the way that you actually enforce those rules is such a key part of actually building that culture around your community. So how do you actually sort of achieve some of these things in your community? One thing we suggest is actually talking to players about why is inclusiveness important, and giving them a reason to actually want to buy into that. A bigger community and a growing community is a strong community, and it's going to be one where if you have a growing community, you can run more events. You're more likely to get premier things offered to you. You can offer better pricing if the community is better. And having a bigger community means more stores coming on board also means that you're more likely to get very large events targeted into your area as well. And all of these are good things. And a lot of players that are kind of stuck in that very sort of exclusive elite group don't necessarily think about that kind of thing. So actually engaging with players and giving them a compelling why around growing the game is really, really important. Posting your values. If you have some values, are you talking to people about it? Are you modeling the behaviors that you want to see in store yourself? Training your staff, making sure that they know what the values are that you're trying to communicate, and that they actually go out and role model those kinds of things as well. But if you don't explain these values to your staff and you don't tell the players about them, you can't just expect that they're going to pick it up. You have to be talking about it all the time. The final thing is thinking about actually separating your events. And again, the best performing stores are often sort of saying, look, the elite play can be somewhat off-putting for the new players, and so should I have something a bit easier for the new players to be coming into, rather than just the elite play? And again, the stores that are getting really big turnouts at the big events are often the ones that are putting on 2 or 3 things a week, with some clearly targeted at the incoming players versus the ones that are right at the top of the pyramid. And so if you want to take the casual players, the interested players, and you want to turn them into the engaged players and the competitive players, you've got to think about a whole range of things. You've got to think about whether you've got the event mix right for them. You've got to think about whether you're communicating it to them through the marketing, and you've got to think about actively cultivating a culture that's going to be really interesting and exciting for them as well. So there we go. That's a big part of what we think about as a studio, and I hope that's useful for some of you for things that you can do to actually try and help build this a bit. So Marshy, maybe I'll just pass back to you.
Hey, yeah. So we had a few pretty good questions pop up here. One of them was, where can I send folks in my community who are interested in becoming a flesh and blood judge?
Good one. So we have judge at fabtcg.com. So mail into there right now. Go on our website. We've got the judging program open right now, and the exam is going to be kicking off next week. So fantastic question. We've got almost 1,000 people that have signed up to go through the training program. So get them in. So once judges are coming out and they're everywhere, is there any advice on a way to find judges for in-store play? I'd like to insert this one answer, maybe asterisk here is the best way to find a judge is to find someone in your store who wants to judge. That's one of the best ways to really kind of cement community growth within your store. When it's a regular who's a judge at your store, it does wonders for the game, because they already have that authenticity. They're already part of the community in your LGS. So that's great. But let's say I don't have that. Is there anywhere else I can find judges that can help me judge in-store? Yeah, look, we're going to be giving judges the opportunity of making their details public, and then that way stores can actually go and find a local level 1, level 2 judge, and they can help out there, and they can always get in touch with us as well, and we can look to put them directly in contact with some qualified judges in their area. But yeah, it's something we're very happy to help with. And you're absolutely right, Marshy. Training up your own community is the best way that you can actually do this.
So there's a store locator. I mentioned this actually in the prior presentation that Flesh and Blood has, but if I'm running Flesh and Blood events, how do I get added to the store locator on the Flesh and Blood website?
What you're going to do is sign up for Gem, and you're going to be in the store locator there immediately. And if you want to feature first, then get your events loaded, so you can put events up all the way several months out. And it's just another key piece of marketing there is add your events to Gem, get them set up in there, and you'll get pop out at the top of the list when people search in your local area.
Yeah, and we were talking about kind of publisher supporting games and what they can do when you're deciding to enter a new product line, what kind of support you're looking for. When a publisher is willing to lend their voice, their reach, their website to you as a retailer, you got to take advantage of it. That's an absolute gimme, because the natural place people are going to go, if you're looking for a Flesh and Blood tournament, what are you going to do? You're going to go to you're going to go to LSS. You're going to go to the Flesh and Blood website. So you want to get on there. You want to get listed on there, because that is just the first stop for most players, and it's free, low-hanging fruit for all of you. So I think that is so important to take advantage of.
Yep. Friday night
This
and I
is
want to play. Where am I going to go?
exactly.
I'm going to go on I'm going to go on the publisher website and I'm going to look for an event. And if you're not on there, then they're going to go to the store of the person who bothered to get on there.
Exactly. You're going to miss out. So there was this great breakdown. We can see it right here. This pyramid for gameplay in the store. How long, getting in and then building up in that pyramid seems to be quite a process. Are there any estimates, or how long should stores kind of think, hey, I'm building my way up this pyramid, it will take me how much time?
I mean, my view is that this is a forever process. It's not a process that you think of as being done. This is a process that you go and you keep doing. Now, if you're just starting out, then you don't have a community. And our suggestion is that you spend about a month or so trying to build people up to some of the classic formats. So you actually start out and you do the IRA events, you move people up into the sealed deck events, you give people a chance to learn the rules and learn the fundamentals of how the game system works, give them a chance to actually get some cards and build up a bit of a collection first before you really start sort of pushing out Blitz and classic constructed. So we suggest about a month-long runway or so to actually build your community into there in the first place. But one of the things I was saying before is don't fall into the trap of thinking that you've done that and so now I'm done. Sure. Customer acquisition is something that never ever stops, and the stores that do the best job of this are the ones that have just got those ongoing engagement programs that actually keep new players coming through the funnel. So a stronger suggestion would be don't just run the one-time, once a week competitive event for everybody to be coming along. Think about what the second level thing is that is going to be more attractive and more appealing to those casual and interested players that'll actually get them off the sofa and coming in. And if that's a sealed deck event with some participation prizes, rather than a classic constructed event with a prize for the winner and that's it, then those are the kinds of really important things to just be thinking about in terms of all those tiers of the community that you've got there.
Awesome. Well, we're up against time here, Chris. Any final thoughts on building that flesh and blood community in local game stores?
Hey, look, I think the one thing I'd just say is the world is opening up again out of after a year and a half of chaos and lockdown, and so one more thing just to think about community is that there's potentially a lot of people out there that actually want to get back involved again, and so making sure that you think beyond just the 8 regulars that show up and play every week, and actually think about all those other people that are out there that might want to get involved and might want to come out and play. The opportunity is really here now. Trading card games are a fantastically hot property at the moment, and there's just a great opportunity out there to bring people on. But if you want to get them in and you want to keep them in, then it's the culture of your store and the culture of your community that's actually going to make it a fun place for people to come back and do it again and do it again. So making sure that you're talking to the community about your values, making sure that you're training your staff, making sure that you're role modeling that's the kind of thing that's going to get people from a person that saw a poster in your store or a person that saw your marketing piece on Facebook. The thing that's going to get them back again and again and again is a great culture for them to participate in. And so that would be the biggest thing. Is this is not something that's ever finished. Building a community and building a culture is just an ongoing process that you'll have to engage in forever, and the people that do it the best just get absolutely fantastic results.
I couldn't agree more. From a marketing perspective, like getting them in the door is half the battle. You don't want to make a one-time sale. You don't want a one-time customer. You want a dedicated fan. You want someone who's part of your community that's engaged in that store, and culture is how you're going to do it. Getting them in the door is one thing. Getting them to come back in the door is the important part, because now you have a lifetime customer. So I just really couldn't agree more. So thank you so much, Chris. It's Saturday morning for you, or is it Sunday morning?
Sunday morning,
my bad. Sunday morning for you over there in New Zealand. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday morning for you. Always a pleasure to talk with you, to talk with James, talk with the whole team there at LSS. You guys are so wonderful. And what I love every time every time I'm talking to you guys, it's like there's so much more than just game design going on here. A whole talk about organized play in store, and we're talking about culture and how to build a positive culture and inclusive culture. And I think that is one of the great things about LSS as a company is the global view, the big picture is always present in everything you do, and I admire that. So thank you very much for joining us today. It's always wonderful to talk to you and James.
Hey, look, thanks, Marshy, and thanks to the team at Channel Fireball. Thanks for everyone that came along. Hope the rest of you have a good weekend.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for us today. That is the the final presentation. We ended on a high note with Chris Pearce from LSS here at the third local game store conference. I want to remind everybody here, everybody watching on video, we are launching the Channel Fireball Marketplace this coming Thursday, September 30th. Be on there. Check it out. There's all kinds of benefits. There's no fee for sales on the marketplace for opening weekend. There's retailer rewards, which LSS has kindly donated a bunch of items to. So you want to be there right at launch. Head to cfb.gg right now to sign up. We're going to go dark on CFBGG in just a bit and then come back up on channelfireball.com with the brand new Channel Fireball Marketplace to help support all of you retailers out there and build a robust retail-based marketplace. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody.